Welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Beto O'Rourke's campaign to return America to 1995 is off to a surprisingly rough start tonight. Instead of telling us more about his skateboard tricks and his sweet weed hookups, O'Rourke is apologizing for his skin color. Truly. We've got more on that just ahead. But first tonight, the Mueller report coming any day now. Now, to be clear, we don't really know that it is coming any day now, but everyone in Washington is saying that. But there are indications that it might be. Former acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker, for one, has said it's pretty much wrapped up. In any case, all of this will end at some point, and when it does, there will be chaos in the news business. Every interested party will work to spin it to their own ends. Before that happens, let's pause to put this in perspective and remember how the Russia hoax began in the first place. Throughout the 2016 presidential campaign, Hillary Clinton and her surrogates in the media attacked Donald Trump for his role in pushing the birther story. They didn't just argue that it was dumb to think Barack Obama was born in Kenya. They said it hurt America. They said it delegitimized Obama as a leader by casting him as an illegitimate president. Those are fair points. If you can't prove something is true, you shouldn't claim that it is. If you don't like a president's policies, argue against them. Offer a better alternative. Don't claim that he isn't really the president. That doesn't help the country. Somehow, though, Democrats learned the opposite lesson. And so for 3 years, they had pushed their own, far more harmful conspiracy, the theory of Russian collusion. This was all invented, as you know, by the Clinton campaign for short-term political gain during the race. Newly unsealed court documents show how Fusion GPS, working on behalf of the Clintons, worked to publicize the fraudulent Steele dossier. The dossier was never more than gossip. No responsible news outlet would publish it, even those that hated Trump. Instead, Fusion pitched its lies to government officials. Fusion founder Glenn Simpson met with Bruce Orr at the Department of Justice. Christopher Steele met with Jonathan Weiner at the State Department. Weiner spread the disinformation to his colleagues. Eventually, even President Obama and Jim Comey were briefed on the dossier. Never has unverified opposition research in a presidential campaign reached higher levels of government. Meanwhile, the press used this fact as a pretext for publishing the dossier. No, we can't prove it's true, but people in the Obama administration are talking about it. Therefore, it's news. The editor of BuzzFeed admitted that was the thinking on this show.
This document that is being fought over, and that, by the way, everybody except the public, in a certain sense, has seen. We've seen, and we don't have any special powers. At what point does the audience say, we can see this too, and we can deal with the fact that it is clearly labeled as unverified, that it's clearly labeled that some things in it aren't true, which is what we did.
I kind of get it. I mean, so what you're saying is because famous people are gossiping about it, and because other news organizations...
Famous people, the President of the United States, the President-elect, and the intelligence agencies.
A famous person. They gossip too. And by the way, let me just note...
Not gossip. The official briefing, a document that, by the way, is a public document subject to the Freedom of Information law.
Well, actually, in some sense, it's gossip because it's unverified. And the difference between what you did and what Drudge did was what Drudge reported turned out to be true, whereas it looks like what you reported is not true.
Not gossip, official briefing. Please. It was a ploy to defame a political opponent. Everyone knew that. And in fact, in the years since, no evidence has ever emerged to verify the dossier's main claims. It was fake then, it is fake now. But it still caused an awful lot of damage. That fraudulent dossier was used to justify the grotesque civil rights violations perpetrated on Naval Academy graduate Carter Page. It justified multiple congressional investigations, which ground government to a halt. It helped destroy a relationship with Russia. That didn't need to happen, but it did, thanks to this hoax. And, of course, the dossier justified hundreds, if not thousands, of totally irresponsible remarks by politicians and journalists. You may remember some of them. Congressman Ted Lieu said there was a, quote, cloud of treason over the White House. Eric Swalwell of California called Trump a Russian agent, quote, hiding in plain sight. Even Nancy Pelosi, who's supposed to be a responsible leader, who's old enough to know better, said it was certain that Russia was blackmailing the president. All of these were lies. Nobody's ever apologized for them. When the Mueller report does drop, whenever it drops, how will these people explain to their followers, the people who take them seriously, the NPR listeners, the people who read The New Yorker, the entire audience at CNN, why there's no proof of collusion in the document? According to one poll, 67% of Democrats believe it is probably or definitely true that Russia tampered with vote tallies to help Trump win. Now, in Washington, people know that's ludicrous. Everyone here understands the game. But out there, people really believe this stuff. Pelosi and Schiff and Swalwell told them it was true. MSNBC's entire lineup backed them up. Will those people be disappointed, or will they just assume that Putin somehow got to Mueller, too?
There appears to be a huge inconsistency between what Michael Cohen told the House Judiciary Committee last week and what actually happened. At that hearing last Wednesday, Michael Cohen said very clearly that he never entertained the idea of a pardon by the president, nor would he. Let's listen to that part of his testimony right now.
I have never asked for, nor would I accept, a pardon from President Trump.
Tuesday of this week, we learned that Cohen's former attorney, Stephen Ryan, who you see there pictured on the left beside Cohen, had in fact approached President Trump's legal team, including Rudy Giuliani, about the possibility of a pardon. This was after the FBI raided Cohen's home offices, etc. And today, this statement from Cohen's spokesman, Lanny Davis, clarifying what Cohen told the committee last week prior to Michael Cohen's decision to leave the Joint Defense Group and tell the truth on July 2nd, 2018. Michael was open to the ongoing dangling of a possible pardon by Trump representatives privately and in the media. During that time, he directed his attorney, that would be Stephen Ryan, to explore possibilities of a pardon at one point with Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani, as well as other lawyers advising President Trump. But after July 2nd, 2018, Mr. Cohen authorized me as a new lawyer to say publicly Mr. Cohen would never accept a pardon from President Trump, even if offered. That continues to be the case, and his statement at the oversight hearing was true and consistent with his post-Joint Defense Agreement commitment to tell the truth. Now, Rudy Giuliani would not confirm whether Stephen Ryan had approached him about a pardon, but Rudy did tell Fox News that whenever they are asked about a pardon by any attorney or individual, they give the following standard answer, quote, "The president has said he will not consider any pardons now." Of course, that doesn't mean that he in any way is diminishing his constitutional power to make those decisions in the future. I mean, clearly here, Bill, there is a lot of parsing going on the part of Michael Cohen's representatives, because at no time during that congressional testimony last week, now we do not know what he said in the closed hearings, but in that open hearing, at no time did he say, "I never asked for a pardon after July 2nd, 2018, but I did before July 2nd, 2018. He simply said very plainly, as you can see, "I never asked for, nor would I accept the pardon from the President of the United States." So we'll see where this goes, but I think a lot of people are going to start making hay about this.
Welcome back. Bombshell new development in the wake of Michael Cohen's hearing on Capitol Hill. Republicans now asking if he was coached by Democrats beforehand. Sources say that Cohen met with the staff of Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff 4 times over 10 hours leading up to his public testimony last week. Cohen's lawyer, Lanny Davis, defending the move, saying it was, quote, completely appropriate, and he would have done the same thing for Republicans had they asked. Dana, I'm going to start with you because I know you're
I'm sorry, Brian is writing this on my page, and I can't read what it says.
We had a pregame.
So
I feel it was
for the people at home. The reason I'm going to Dana and Brian first is they were getting into this before, so they're both fired up. So
I'm not fired up. I don't really care.
Well, okay, so Adam.
Thanks.
All right.
No, here's the thing. You think it's a huge deal that Adam Schiff is shifty and there's a problem. But you just said.
So Dana, Adam Schiff is downplaying this, saying that it's completely normal. Is it?
Well, I want to hear her yell at Brian more. Brian, you yell back at her.
Well, someone start and then the other guy. So Dana, you go first.
Lanny Davis is the lawyer, right? He's a good one. He's been through this before. And the committee said, you're coming up here because you're going to have to talk to us because you lied to us the last time you were here. We want to see you up here. We're going to go through this so we can walk it through. Maybe that's inappropriate, except for that they offered it to the Republicans as well. The Republicans didn't want to do it. Okay, fine. That's fine. But the 2 biggest headlines that came out of Michael Cohen's testimony, the number one thing that President Trump wanted, Michael Cohen said, no evidence of collusion, number one. So did the Democrats coach him to say that? And the second headline was, President Trump did not directly tell me to lie. Okay, so those are the 2 things that the president could possibly be in trouble for. Michael Cohen sides with the president on those two things. So if the Democrats were trying to coach him, they didn't do a very good job.
So Brian's raising his hand. So Brian, ding, 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 you're next. Go.
Okay, first off, what bothers me is the deception. When he asked, Adam Schiff says, who was just talking about logistics and he was worried about his security. That's not true. They met 5 different times for 12 hours. My goodness. And you told me something I didn't know. I did not know Republicans were invited to come to New York and meet with him. So if that's
they
true,
had the
that's a little different.
opportunity to do it. And
they were a little bit surprised that it was at this length. They had no idea. That's why Turner wrote that letter saying, did you actually rehearse this? Was this a rehearsal? Some of these the Q&As that got on the record. Number two is the Benghazi hearings. All the controversy with the Benghazi hearings. There was one time in which a Democrat was not invited to a one-on-one session with a key witness because a whistleblower wasn't too secure with what he was going to say that it wouldn't have leaked out to the media. And Elijah Cummings went crazy. So just do it the same way. There's no legal reason to bring Republicans in, but it's the right thing to do traditionally. And it did come out. They said that he changed. They said that Trump lawyers changed his remarks. And they didn't. That turned out to be wrong. They didn't change his remarks because they found his original, the Moscow Tower talk stopped in January. That's exactly what he intended to say.
I think that if you look at the Cohen hearings, at the end of the day, did it help or hurt President Trump? And I would argue that it absolutely helped him.
Well, and to that point, Greg, I want to get you in on this.
Please do.
To the point that Dana just made, does it help?
I wasn't listening.
Oh, well, that did not help.
You're not interested? You're not listening?
Yeah,
What's
you
going on
wanted
with
me to
this
yell
show?
it.
I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Does
We're real. Unlike your crazy show in the morning. You don't even know they're on in the morning. You're sleeping till noon.
Does it help order in the court? Does it help anyone to embrace Michael Cohen? Because if
he's quite crazy. To your point about Adam, what's his Schiff being shifty? I don't think people keep saying he's like Joe McCarthy, right? He's on this witch hunt. That's what the Republicans compare. He's more, in my opinion, like Charlie McCarthy, in that he's a doll on strings, and the strings are pulled by an activist media. He's doing all of this because he's being rewarded with the spotlight. He's so wooden and stiff. He makes John Kerry look like a gummy worm. But he is in control of the media, and as long as the media is chasing this, he'll keep chasing them.
Well,
I gotta say, I gotta introduce you to Devin Nunes, because if you think
him.
a guy who was playing
play
for the media and absolutely a stooge for President Trump, guess what? That was Devin Nunes when he was in charge of House Intel. So I mean, I don't see how that's. And let me just finish. And I think that when you stop and review the idea that this is a witness who had lied to them in 2017 to the Congress. The idea that they would say, well, we want to review what you're going to talk about. We want to know what you have knowledge of so that we can prepare going over things like catch and kill stories with the National Enquirer, exactly what was the relationship with David Pecker.
David Axelrod put out a tweet in response to the House Judiciary Committee's sweeping document request from 81 people saying that this plays into President Trump's witch hunt narrative. Doesn't it?
No, it plays into a media narrative that tries to say it because the Congress has a legitimate oversight.
But all these people have already been part of Mueller's investigation.
No, this is a distortion. I'm so sorry that David Axelrod bought into this distortion because you want Congress to ascertain the facts before bringing any charges or going after impeachment. They aren't doing that. They're gathering facts. That's their legitimate role.
But isn't it redundant, though, when Mueller has already been doing this investigation since 2017?
No, it's not. We don't even know what's in the Mueller report. So, I mean, let's assume that Mueller comes up with nothing.